Well, hello everyone. I'm back. Well, you guys, y'all know I went on a real vacation with my husband and some close friends. Well, a close couple friends. And so it was pretty nice just to really be able to get away, enjoy a different company. I mean, this is the first time that me and my husband been on a vacation in a long time. And also, this is the first time we went away with actually, well, I guess it's our second time, but it's been a long time with a couple. It was really nice. We kind of went to it was called like a desert resort. You know what? Now that I think about it, that name was a good name because it was like really being in the desert. It was so hot. I mean, you could touch your body and feel like you've been sitting in the oven. But I enjoyed my time because y'all, most of you know I've been practicing on my walking, doing some mall walking so I could be able to walk and keep up with everybody. I'm so thankful I was practicing because I kept up half of the walking. So could you imagine if I didn't practice at all? Mm. But it was so hot. But it was really nice. It was nice not having to be nowhere, having no appointments, and having not to have a schedule. I try to make some videos, me and this phone just, I don't even know. Even in Las Vegas, it still was like a broke soul. So I said, you know what? I'm going to send a little message and then I will talk to you guys when I get back. So I'm all nice and refreshed. I also celebrated my mom's birthday today, and it was really nice. Just really taking time to love up on people is very important. To enjoy the time that you're together now, and then that way, as we all get older and things change, we have nice memories to look back on. We went to this place my brother had been talking about, called I think it was called the Jerk Hut. It's like Jamaican Caribbean food. And it was really good. And I kind of like broke my fast there because I've been doing this fast regimen. And so actually instead of fasting for my 36 hours, which I was supposed to do, I end up fasting 42 hours so I can make it linger on into that meal for tonight. And so I did that. I feel good. So now it's time for me to do my 48-hour fast. So I've been feeling really good, right on track. And anyway, I'm back, and so we're ready to get back into the study of Rebekah. So we're on Rebekah part 3. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so as we've been learning about Rebekah, and you guys, you can be grabbing your Bibles. I want to go back over a few things that we talked about, which was keeping some questions in your mind as we study this out. And actually, for you guys to get your scriptures together, we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 25, verses 19 through 34. Okay, Genesis 25, verses 19 through 34. And so a few of the questions to keep in mind was, what was Rebekah's character like? Did she listen to God? How can we be like Rebekah at times? Who did she have in her life to take advice from? How did she lift her husband up? Was she a good role model? What's one good thing about Rebekah before she became married? Okay. And then we talked about God had given 3 promises. One was your descendants will outnumber the stars. Your descendants will possess the land inhabited by their enemies. All nations will be blessed through your seed. So those are the things that God promised Abraham, who was Isaac's father. Okay, so we're going to read chapter 25, verses 19 through 34, which starts off with the title of Jacob and Esau. It said, this is the account of the family line of Abraham, son of Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel the Aramean, from Paddan, sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife. because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her. She said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. Okay, so she went to go ask question why these babies doing all this extra inside of her. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When the time came for her birth, when the time came for her to give birth, there were two twins in her womb. The first one came out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for the wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." That is why he was also called Edom. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." This ain't going good, right, y'all? Sell me your birthright to get a meal, okay? "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. Come on, y'all. For your birthright. He had to be mighty hungry, right? Or really exaggerating about he's going to really die, right? Okay. He ate and drank and then got up and left. So Esau despised the birthright, his birthright. All that for a meal. Okay. So Isaac married Rebekah when he was 40 years old. In verse 21, it was talking about Isaac prayed for Rebekah to have children. And the Lord blessed them with twins, okay, which represented two nations. Isaac was 60 years old at their birth. Their names were Jacob and Esau. Okay. I don't know about you, it's a lot of things that stick out in that just that little segment. It talked about how they was already fighting inside the womb. But God said they're going to represent two different nations, okay? And if you notice, Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, but they weren't even born till he was 60. You know, it makes me think about, you know, when you think about Sarah and Abraham, his father, you know, he had to pray. They prayed for kids. You know, it took a long time. They didn't just naturally have kids. It said that Isaac prayed, you know, but he didn't have his kids until he was actually 60 years old. I don't know about you. I'm not 60, but just think about running around with kids in this day and time. That's like a lot. You got to be in good shape these days. Because sometimes you be like, okay, I'm going to play a little bit, then everybody got to go home. But could you imagine starting where you have a baby or two babies on top of that with you at 60, starting from scratch? But you know what, too? A lot of time in those days, the women did a lot of stuff extra. Okay, so we're going to get on into that. You know, it talked about how Isaac's sons, you know, they're going to represent two different nations, and you can already see the division in them. You know, Esau asked Jacob for just something to eat. And in order for him to eat, he had Esau to sell him his birthright. Let's think about that. And the only thing he ate was some bread and soup. Now, Esau was a hunter and stuff. He should have just been out there hunting and eating his own food. So there's a lot of things in their characters that really should stand out. You know, I don't know what he was out there doing, you know, being a hunter, and then, you know, figuring out that he was going to die if he didn't have something to eat. So there's a lot of things to think about that the scriptures do not say. But it does say that Jacob made him pay for the soup and that bread was his birthright. Think about that. When you think about sharing with people, you know, they already divided. And then it said that Esau kind of despised his birthright. I don't know what that meant, but that's something we could study out at a different time. You know, sometimes, even though you could train your kids the best you can, when they become adults, they make their own decisions. But I do believe some of the characters do, you know, it kind of like, it can kind of still seep over from the way that you train a kid, their values, what they believe in, how they treat other people. You know, one question was, did Rebekah, you know, who was she taking advice from? Was she taking advice, even when, now I sit here thinking about it, you know, who helped her to raise her kids? You know, who helped them? What happened to that plan and sharing? You know, did she even teach them how to share? It's a lot of things to think about. So anyway, go back over your scriptures. It was we read out of Genesis chapter 25, verses 19 through 34. If you have any questions, let's, you know, put them down so I can see them. Send it to me on the email and everything, and we'll keep going because we still got another segment to do. And so actually I'm gonna put out another video so I could be kind of caught up. So anyway, read back over there, and if you need to get the old scriptures that we already did Genesis chapter 22, okay, and then we did Genesis 22 verses 1 through 67. That was the really long one, so I didn't want to make this one long too, so that you can be able to go back over your notes and kind of study and kind of keep on. And for those of you who are just chiming in now, like I said, we read Genesis 22. That just was telling about the birth of Rebekah when she was born, who her dad was. And then we read Genesis 24, chapter 24, verses 1 through 67. And tonight we did Genesis 25, verses 19 through 34, for those of you who need to catch up. So I don't want to make it too long, but I love you guys. I'm so glad to be back and getting back on track. And I've got a lot of music. I'm going to do a video with like yoga with one of my good friends that I watched her grow up from she was little when I first moved back to Florida from San Diego. Her name is Meredith. And we'll have a video that you can go on. Not only we trying to educate and exercise the mind, we want to also exercise the body and do some shopping, some fun things. And so I'm going to have a lot of different other things that come on. If you got ideas, please send them to me because I want to make our channel a fun channel. Okay? So I love you guys. Thank you for joining me on A Sister's Trust. You guys have a great rest of the week. And you know what? I want to say peace, soul, and out. I love you. Bye.